I'm making this video to talk about a TV show I really enjoy, and I'm pretty sure you guys also really enjoy. Now, I'm going to start by defining the term crash out. For those of you who know what a crash out is, I'm not speaking to you guys, speaking to those of you who don't know what a crash out is. And now the kids nowadays use this term both as a verb and a noun. So, as a noun, the definition is to engage in violent and or destructive behavior targeted towards persons, property, and or oneself. The definition as a noun, I'm sure you can assume, is an individual with the propensity to insidious acts of violence, destruction, and or chaos. Now, with that being said, Invincible, a comic series that was authored by Robert Kirkman and illustrated by Cory Walker, and it follows Mark Grayson as he adjusts to his newfound powers and reality while trying to cope with the truth of his origins. So Mark doesn't know that he's born to a Viltrumite father, he just knows that his dad is a superhero. And then one day he gains his powers. So I'm not going to say too much more about the show. And this is also the point in the video where I'm going to say huge spoiler warning. We're going to be discussing the events of episode 2 and 3 of season 3. So before you go onwards, pause this video, go watch Invincible, get caught up, binge it, and then come back to this video. Alright, so now that you're back, in episode 2, Cecil gets his ass kicked by some crazy martial arts on some operation. She starts spewing some nonsense. Cecil goes into the back room. He says, "We're all clear. Tip was a bust." She comes in, starts laying the paws on this guy. Cool. Tases her. She goes down. Then her crazy man comes out, starts putting the paws on Cecil again. Hang, hang, hang. Then they're about to murk Cecil, and they hear sirens. Cecil's like, "You dumb. I knew who you were the minute I stepped in your shop." Knowing that they were trapped, the two crazy psychos try to kill themselves with this poison gas that Cecil, the now director of the GDA, the Global Defense Agency, was trying to find, right? So they open this cabinet. There's this ominous green gas. They leak it. Boom. They start melting. I don't know if I can overlay this part on YouTube, but I'll blur it. There, the skin starts to melt off their flesh. Eyes bloodshot. Cecil sees this, chucks them into the closet, closes the door. Now explain something to me. If I have any chemical engineers or chemistry whizzes in my comment section or on the channel, explain something to me. If a gas is caustic enough or acidic enough to melt skin, what stops it from melting your internal organs? Kind of like chlorine gas that was used in World War I, right? Mustard gas. You inhale it, it reacts with the moisture in your lungs to create hydrochloric acid, and then the stuff in our stomachs, and then it melts your lungs. So if Cecil's skin is being melted on contact, and he's breathing this stuff in, how did he not melt from the inside out? How are they? Anyways. Cecil is alive. See, I call it on him being alive because again, as soon as the gas touched his hand, you see the flesh and the skin on his flesh start to melt. All parts of his body. He only has, and you'll see in the next sequence, he only has a sliver of original skin right here on his chin. I really amaze myself sometimes. I forgot that I don't need to use manual focus with this lens if I'm using my Ulanzi transmitter mic combo. Anyways, I was out of focus. as you guys could tell. As I was saying, yeah, so chemistry guys, let me know. He should have been gone. Like, the only thing that was left was like this cheek area. He's like, oh, I got this, all the skin left from my original skin. I gotta keep it. That's it. So if that's all that was left on the outside, and it's a gas. Anyways, let's move on. There's more of his past, so the sequence after that, the GDA gets attacked, or the GDA HQ gets attacked, and the then director and Cecil almost get killed by some generic brute villain that's bulletproof, apparently. And right as they're about to get squished by this guy, ramming them just dead on, slow-mo. And the crazies, the two crazy martial artists, ones from the beginning that try to kill themselves, they pop up, kick this guy like dynamic entry. Both just like side kicks to the face, boom, he flies into the wall. Yeah, and that martial arts terrorist duo save Cecil and the director.
Isn't that amazing?
Cecil's confused. The martial arts twins murder the generic brute villain. And Cecil looks over at them, looks over at Radcliffe. He's like, yo, these guys are criminals. I don't work with criminals. He's like, hey, Radcliffe. Radcliffe's like, hey, they were too good to waste. I had to fix them. Cecil's like, word, let me thank them. Pulls his gun off. Boom. Boom. Headshots only. One shot, one kill each. The next sequence is Cecil in jail. I'm assuming for killing the terrorist duo. The martial arts terrorist duo. Okay. Now Cecil's in jail. Scary supervillain jail. We see people dying, people getting beaten to a pulp. Then he gets thrown in a cell with what looks like fucking Jinbei from One Piece. If you know, you know. So he gets thrown into this cell with this big blue sumo looking motherfucker. First time watching it, I thought, oh, it's a wrap. Cecil's dead. They had to reconstruct him again because he's current day. He's either that or he's a clone. One frame, there's graffiti and paint and things are busted up in the jail or in the prison. Next clip, there's a guy mopping and the place looks pristine. We go into Cecil's cell. He's there sitting with his cellmate, now freaking underboss or like assistant or whatever. Like, hey boss, you got a visitor. Who the fuck is it? Radcliffe. Yeah. So Cecil ends up reforming the place, and he gets asked by Radcliffe to be the new GDA director. Obviously he refuses, because he's like, you nigga, you're the one that got me in this place. This is my punishment. And then Radcliffe's like, nah, you didn't see it right. You are talent, and what I say, I don't waste talent, I fix talent. So he threw him in prison to fix him. And as he's leaving, Radcliffe, after Cecil refused, as he's leaving, he drops the bar of a century on Cecil. He says, you can either be the good guy or the guy who saves the world. That's hard. That's a tough line. Now see, Cecil is like an absolutist. He's like, I gotta save everyone. So when he was recovering, when we saw the scene of him in the med bay, he asked Radcliffe, like with a really heavy heart, how many people died? Man, how many people? And so that's why he kept the old flesh on his chin to remember the people who died, and to remember that he f***ed up. You think that guy didn't jump on the opportunity when his big dog, when his boss was like, man, You can either be the good guy, or you could save everyone. He ate that shit up. He was the GDA director the next day, okay? So, all of that goes past. He's the GDA director, whoop-de-whoop. Now it cuts back to what's actually happening current day. Mark and him are in the GDA White Room for Cecil's protection. And we see a whole bunch of Rhiannon. Now, for those of you who don't know, Rhiannon are these creatures, bionic creatures, half flesh, half machine. And these are strong. So Invincible, Mark, starts these niggas up. Bing, bang, boom, bang, bang. Hang, hang, hang. Just murder everywhere. Starts to crash out. Crash out. Part 1. Mark starts destroying these Rhiannon, just murder left, right, and center. I'm like, okay, King. Okay. Crash out. Go for it. Go. I love this. I'm here. Chaos. I love it. I know you guys love a good crash out too. When you guys see a fight, or when you're scrolling through Instagram and you see some guys getting to squabbling, throwing hands, getting down, I know you stop, okay? So don't lie, you like a good crash out. So he just starts and these niggas up. Bing, bang, boom, knife hand, wah, wheel, right? Cecil's talking to him calm, hand on his hip. He's like, man, Mark, just go home, man. This ain't right. Mark said, yeah, no, that. Kills every Rhiannon in sight. Wow. And he's like, is that all you got, Cecil? Is that it? Cecil's like, damn, little nigga, shit. I hope you weren't gonna say that. We see an army, a swimming pool, a sea, not a swimming pool, that's tiny, an ocean of Rhiannon. Okay? And then Cecil deploys this frequency attack with this button, and something starts to ring in Mark's head, in Invincible's head. Falls to the ground. And then Cecil goes on an anime explanation. This is how I've isolated your weakness. Only for Mark to take out the earpiece, and the pain and the ringing's still there. Oh, and then he's like, oh, by the way, big dog, that's not the earpiece I was talking about. I was talking about the one that we implanted while you were in our hospital, under our care, and sedated. Yeah, that one, that's too far for you to just rip out. And so my guy's just on the ground in agonizing pain. Just horrible pain. Cecil stops, and he's like, hey, again, we can still be civil about this. Mark said, yeah, no. This shit. I'm out. Zooms out. Pew. Cecil takes him down with the frequency attack again. Apparently, it also affects his inner ear. That's what he meant by it's implanted too deep. So, 1/52.8. Okay, great. Little unsolicited neuroscience lecture if you'd like. Sound is just vibrating air. Hits or goes in the outer ear. It bounces into the outer ear, goes into the canal. That's where it reaches the tympanic membrane, which is like think of like the skin on a drum, right? Hits that vibrates, and I believe there's a set of bones in the middle ear. Don't remember the name of the bones, but a set of small bones in the middle ear that take that vibration, translate it to smaller vibrations so that you don't blow out your inner ear organs. And then those small vibrations are then transmitted to the inner ear, the cochlea, through what's called the round window. I think it's the round window. It's a small window cut into the cochlea, and then from there that vibration goes into a fluid, right? What's that fluid called? Oh no. Oh man, the library's now closed, so I've got to continue this somewhere else. Welcome back, guys. So, to pick up where we left off, the unsolicited neurology or neuroscience lesson about the ear. So, the ear has three parts, okay? So we have the outer ear, the middle ear, and the inner ear. The outer ear consists of like the actual physical structures that guide the sound into the actual organs of the ear. So the outside here and the canal are the outer ear, and then your eardrum and the bones that conduct the vibrations from your eardrum are considered the middle ear. And then the inner ear consists of the cochlea, which is like this snail looking sort of thing, and the semicircular canals, which are important to the episode that we're talking about. So, like I said earlier, Cecil dispensed a frequency attack on Mark, right? After he tried to escape the Pentagon, and Mark fell to the ground, and Cecil said that the frequency also messes with his inner ear, which he needs to fly. And he says that because the inner ear is a part of a system called the vestibular system, which gives us our ability to orient our body and know where we are in space. Hey guys, it's Editor Nadim here. So the next few things I'm about to say in the video, not right now, this is Editor Nadim, I mean like Video Nadim. The next few things that Video Nadim's about to say aren't entirely inaccurate, but they aren't the whole truth. So I caught some inaccuracies when I was editing about the vestibular system. And I said that the vestibular system is responsible for giving us our sense of position in space. And that's not entirely wrong, because it's more specifically, it gives us our head's sense of position in space. But our head tends to go where our body goes, so that's why I said that. There's a separate sense called proprioception that gives our body its actual sense of position in space, but that's outside of the scope of what I'm talking about. And let me know if you guys want like more in-depth explanations about this stuff. I can do it. Like, I mean, that's I might as well use my degree for something. But yeah, so the vestibular system has three main components. So we have the utricle and the saccule, which are organs that are responsible for sensing linear acceleration. And then we have the semicircular canals, which are what they sound like. They're semicircular canals that are 90 degrees opposed to one another, and they sense angular acceleration. And the reason why there's three of them and they're 90 degree opposed is because they sense angular acceleration in one of the three axes of rotation. So think of putting a pin through your, like a really long pin rod through your head and spinning about that axis. That's one axis. Putting that same pin rod through the side of your head and spinning about that axis, that's another axis. And then take that same pin rod, put it in the back of your head and spin about that axis, and that's another axis. So that's what they do. Anyways, enjoy the rest of the video. In short, when Cecil zapped Mark with the death sound. What are we gonna call that sound? The cortex crusher. Yeah, that's what we're gonna call it. So when Cecil hit Mark with the cortex crusher, because he said later in the episode that it felt like his brain was being drilled into. So when Cecil hit Mark with the cortex crusher, he fell to the ground. So why did he fall to the ground? His inner ear was being messed with, which meant his vestibular system was being messed with, which meant his sense of balance or sense of up and down was being messed with. So, you need to know up from down when you're trying to fly, right? Like, walking is easy because you just need to stay upright, and then, you only have, like, really two dimensions of travel. Either go forward and back, or left and right. If you're an athlete, then you go up and down. Or if you're going up and down stairs, or an elevator. But you know what I mean. Generally, we're not going up and down, unless we're jumping or something. Mark goes up and down, so he has all three axes of motion. So he has his X, his Y, right? That's the flight, and then Z, which we have. So Z and X are walking normal axes, and then he has that extra Y axis because he can fly, which adds another variable to things, which is why when his inner ear was tampered with, he fell to the ground. All right, that's the explanation. So after he falls to the ground, Mark then asks Cecil a couple questions. I don't like the way that he fell out of the sky, because if it messes up your inner ear, it would mess up your balance and your ability to tell up from down, left from right. Like, he looked like he was incapacitated, but I digress. Asks Cecil a couple questions and then zips off at Mock Jesus. Cool. Okay, so he zips off at Mock Jesus. Cecil, this motherfucker, has a teleporter on him at all times. He just zips to wherever Mark is gonna be next, right? He just calls up his boys. It's like, guys, track him. He has his location. Boom, beams to where he's gonna be. Boom, beams to where he's gonna be. Mark, all the while, is trying to get his guys, bro. He's trying to go to his allies, right? The Guardians of the Globe. So Cecil's like, damn, I can't just take him down wherever he's, where is he gonna hit? Who are the casualties? He doesn't want any collateral damage, so he lets him get to the mountain, and then boom, he hits him, zing, 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 with the Cortex Crusher, right? Zing, 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 falls out of the sky. Boom, cuts to black. Now we're in the Guardians of the Globe HQ, right? So Mark went to them to seek protection from his allies, you know what I mean? Because they fight on the same team. So he's like, oh, these guys will back me from Cecil. This guy's trying to kill me, right? So Cecil then tries to impose his will. He's like, yo, all of you, stand down. This has nothing to do with you. This is the adults' table. Y'all go sit at the kids' table. It's basically what he said. He sunned all of them. And now Mark is like, hey, he's trying to kill me. The Guardians of the Globe are between Mark and Cecil. And then the token black guy, well, not the token black guy, because there's Black Samson. Anyways, Bulletproof, he's like, yo. Oh, well, let me backtrack. He says, this is not up for, Cecil says something to the effect of, this is not up for discussion. And then Bulletproof is like, I want to hear what Invincible has to say. That's the type of guy that I like. A reasonable nigga. A nigga with a head on his shoulders, you know what I mean? And when I say nigga, I just mean a general person. But like, not necessarily a black person, but just a nigga with, just people who are logical and sensible. Like, hey, let's talk this out, let's figure it out. I want to hear both sides. But nah, this guy Cecil, trying to impose his will on people. Anyways, he hits Mark with the Cranial Crusher. Boom. Or not the Cranial Crusher. Cortex Crusher. Falls to the ground. Starts spawning in Reanimin like it's Super Mario 64. Just a bunch of Reanimin circling Mark. The Guardians of the Globe are like, this is cooked. There's this one guy in the back. he's like their Martian man character. And as soon as Mark goes down to the ground from the Cortex Crusher, he's like, this is making me very uncomfortable. But yeah, so Guardians of the Globe say, gloves are off. This shit. Start destroying, and I mean tearing these niggas up. The Reanimin, right? And then there's a character named Rex. Let me sip my tea real quick. Yapping like this makes you parched real quick, man. I don't like talking, but for y'all, I'll do it. Tea's good for the pipes. Anyways, so there's this character named Rex, or Rexplode by his superhero name. And well, let's just say that Rex Rex isn't the sharpest tool in the shed. He's more like a dull cleaver. He'll get the job done. It's just a matter of how long and how arduous you want the process to be, right? So the genius Rex is like, oh, Cecil's fingers on the button. Mark reacting. To be fair though, in all fairness to my guy, I would have thought the same thing. And I'd say, like, I'm no genius. I'm not even that intelligent. Yeah, I know a little bit about the brain, but that's because of uni. But I would have thought the same thing. Oh, destroy remote, pain stop. Or, destroy X, therefore Y will end. Right? Not right. So Rex goes to destroy the switch. Boom. Explodes Cecil's hand. Switch destroyed. The Cortex Crusher is still on and active. Mark's going through it. Invincible is going through it at this point. Yeah, so Cecil is now visibly panicking. And he's telling the Guardians of the Globe, stop, like a little kid, stop! Right? And now for some reason, the reanimant are jumping Mark. Just hang, get up. Fight back, nigga, fight back. Right? Fight back style. Just pounding on his back. And as a Viltrumite, I don't understand how he's being, like, how is his skin that? Or how does his skin lack durability to the point where, like, these reanimin steel fists are just pummeling him and he's taking damage. You would think that, as a superhero, as a half Viltrumite, as a half alien, right? Your skin would be a little more impervious to that. But I guess the reanimin just got them paused like that, bro. They've been training in Thailand with Jonathan Haggerty. Anyways, so yeah, they start jumping my guy. The frequency attack is finally then blocked by a Rex.
Isn't that amazing?
Correction. It's not blocked by Rex. Rex destroys the remote. Rex then, it's complicated. Once you watch this show, you'll understand. Rex gave his DNA or something to that effect to clone himself for a character named Robot. So Robot has a younger version of Rex's body. Yeah. I like the show. I'm not a diehard fan. I just like it for the Crashout moments, okay? It's a fantastic show. Love it. Do I know the ins and outs of it? No. So please don't come after me. Anyways, so then Robot blocks the frequency attack. And now this is where it begins. This is where it begins. The beauty, the crimson, the bloodbath. That is Mark Grayson's Crashout. Or should I say Invincible's Crashout. Right? So, frequency attack blocked. Cuts to his senses. He's like, whoa, no more pain. Reanimin on his back. He snaps, starts knucking and bucking on these reanimin. Starts slicing, dicing, amputating, mutilating, decapitating. He starts just murdering. And I was all for it. Like, some primal part of me was just like, yeah, crash out. Crash out, my nigga. Crash out. Go for it. You know what I mean? Forgot to mention, Cecil tried to deactivate the reanimin, but like, that's besides the point. Homie is crashing out. And I was all for it. We love to see an amazing crash out. Man, that was a phenomenal crash out to witness. That was crash out beauty. That was clinical crash out. Just the level of crash out that Mark Grayson has. Oh my god. In my notes here, I underlined it 9 times. I said, Mark starts wrecking shit. He murders all the reanimin. And then at the end, he does the coldest thing, man. Does the coldest thing, because Cecil thought he was big and bad. Kills all the reanimen. Cecil's politicking to him. He's monologuing. This, that, and the third. At the end of it, he's like, don't you ever threaten me again. Mark said, word? Zips over, grabs his neck. For those of you who are physics people, break it down frame by frame. Tell me if Cecil would have actually survived, assuming that he's like just flesh and blood, around the neck area, with the swiftness that Mark just, do the math, break it down. I'm not a math person, so yeah. Anyways, grabs Cecil. He says, if you ever come near me or my family again, I'll kill you. I'm like, okay, crash out, my nigga. Yeah, we'll kill you, Cecil. Yeah. By the way, if you couldn't tell, I was also Team Eren. As Attack on Titan, the anime, was being released, or was while it was still in the ether, in the pop culture sphere, while it was still relevant, because it's still a great anime. It's just not, Anyways, I love the chaos. I love the crash out. This does not represent me as a person. This is just what I like in media. I like games where you can ragdoll, dead bodies, and the physics kind of are nice like that. And then I like shows where people don't hold back. They crash out, not for the sake of plot or for the sake of whatever. They just crash out. That's the thing I love about Invincible. Invincible is a show that is not afraid of showing a good crash out. And that's what Mark Grayson did. A fantastic crash out. Oh my god. This crash out is going to be studied. This crash out, writers from now on of animated series, like action adventure animated series, whatever, superhero animated series, they are going to study this crash out. They're going to analyze this crash out, okay? There are going to be classes dedicated to this level of crash out. Oh my god, did he just... there was this little piece of me that was just so invigorated, elated, accentuated, barbiturated. Barbiturates are drugs. This crash out deserves to be in the Hall of Fame of crash outs. Yeah, definitely. There's another crash out in this very season that I will talk about maybe next week. Yeah, stay tuned for that. And stay tuned for more Invincible. This show is absolutely amazing. And with that being said, guys, it's all my time for today. Later.